Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fabulous session of Pen Connect, Penmancy's unique venture where we try to bring in authors closer to their readers. Today, we have with us author Salini Vineeth, and we will be talking about her latest release, Lost Edges, which is a fantastic book. Thank you, everyone who will be joining. Okay, nobody has joined as of now, but we will wait for other people to join. And I just wanted to say welcome to Penmancy and welcome to Pen Connect, Shalini. It is such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. It's nice to be like having this session and talking about this the first time I'm talking about the book in an online meeting. So I'm very excited.
I'm sure you are, and we will jump right into the session. People have started joining in. Hello, Natasha, Deepa, Sangeeta. Thank you for joining in. I will just give a quick introduction of our guest for today to our viewers. Shalini is a fiction and freelance writer based in Bangalore. She worked as an engineer for 10 years before turning to full time writing in 2018. She has published 5 books since she started writing. Lost Edges, the novel that we will be talking about today, Magic Square, a novella, Everyday People, a short story collection which was the finalist in Amazon Pen to Publish Contest 2019, and Travel Guides for Hampi and Padami. She is the winner of the Women's Web Orange Flower Awards for Humor in 2023. She won the Ishi Writing Contest in 2019 and 2020, and her flash fiction story was longlisted in the Australian Writers' Furious Fiction Contest. Her short stories have appeared in a lot of literary magazines like the Bangalore Review, Cafe de Census, the Bilingual Window, Kitab, and the Bombay Review, among others. Shalini can be found at her website www.salinivineeth.in, and you can of course reach to her on her social media handles Instagram and Facebook. She's always available to talk about her book and her writing. As we know, she keeps sharing her experience about writing on her social media handles. Welcome, Shalini. I will just jump right into my experience of reading your book, and I have to say I loved it. It was so amazing. And you've talked about such a lot of subjects that I really love talking about. So I want to congratulate you on having written this book. It is a wonderful story, and I'm sure that it will connect with a lot of readers out there. Hello, Lalita. Hello, Aparna. Urmi, Lakshmi, Kajal. Hello, everyone. We are facing a little bit of technical glitches when it comes to our connection. So please bear with us, and please let us know if neither one of us is online. You have to let us know. And I will wait for Shalini to just unfreeze from her screen. And until then, you guys can let me know which one of you has read Shalini's book, Lost Edges, and I will highlight your comment. And how did you feel about it? Have you read this book? Are you planning to read this book? I know, guys. I know Shalini is facing some issues. All right, I will add. Hi, Shalini. Can you hear me now?
Sorry, dropped off. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problems, no problems. I have told our audience to tell us the moment we face technical glitches, and we will be updated about if
Okay.
we have lost the connection. So I don't know how far you heard my praise of your book. I said that I really loved it, and And I am really, looking forward to talking about it with you. You have explored, so many subjects that I also want people to know about. And just congratulations on, having written this book, because it means a lot, and I'm sure that it will connect to a lot of readers out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you'll enjoyed and kind of related to the book, and I'm really glad that and a lot of people are relating to the book, and I like they are like more than enjoying it, they are actually relating it. So that is actually great to hear.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So, for everybody out there who has not yet read the book, I will just give you a brief summary of the book and what it is about. Lost Edges is the story of two millennials trying to find love and purpose while navigating misplaced ambitions, mental health issues, and gender inequalities. Gitanjali and Ravi are two primary characters. They meet in Bits, Goa. They fall in love, they get married. But now, almost 10 years after they met, the buried insecurities and conflicts are coming to the surface. Will they be able to come out of it? Will they discover themselves and their love for each other and save their marriage? That is what Lost Edges is all about. And I urge you to pick it up and read it. All right, Shalini, my first question to you is about the core concept of this book. You have explored a lot of subjects in this about relationships, about mental health issues, about love. So I want to know, how and when did you come up with this idea? And why did you decide that this was something that you wanted to write on?
Yeah. So am I audible, first of all?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Please
Hello,
continue.
can you hear me? Okay, okay. So just yeah. So the novel as such, like I have drawn inspiration from a lot of people, lot of millennials especially in our generation, who is working in like stressful environments, and mostly like engineers. So I have seen a lot of people who been through all these experiences in their life. And especially when I was working as an engineer. And so the mental health, I feel it's a very important, yet a lot of people ignore it, and it results in a lot of conflict in the workplace and in the relationship. So I wanted to write a novel which is around mental health issues, around childhood trauma. But I didn't want to, it's very difficult subject to tackle. It's a very sober, it's like a very somber subject. It's very, it's difficult to make it engaging and enjoyable. So that's how I thought about this couple and their life and their love story. And I also wanted to have a little bit lighter moments. So the college, that's where the college came into picture. So I wanted it to be a coming of age story of two people basically. So from, when you read them, you should feel that you know them from their, at least, yeah, maybe from the childhood itself. So from the childhood to a stage where they come to a realization about life, and the coming of, you can even call it a coming of age story of two people. So the love and romance was kind of secondary for me in the when I was writing the novel. I didn't conceptualize it as a romance novel at all. But I
Right.
wanted to highlight these things, like about, especially about mental health and about the gender inequalities, about about feminism was a very important theme for me. So and I didn't plan all these in the beginning. I just started telling the story of this couple, and slowly, I think maybe my experiences have influenced it, and I wrote it over 9 years. So it evolved a lot from the
Oh
beginning. What I
God,
conceptualized it
I'm
as a story,
good.
it evolved a lot into a lot of things. So I think that probably my evolution as a person, my evolution as a writer, and my the change in my perspective over the years, it's all visible. Probably that could have added, to the novel itself, because when you that's because it's not written in a 1 or 2 years as such. I didn't plan even that way, but slowly somehow happened in that way. So it took so many years to finish it actually.
Right, right. Oh my God, that is a long time to write a novel, and I can totally see, having read this book, I can totally see that, the voice of the characters has grown along with you, and their recollections of their past, and their decisions in the present, and about the future. It shows that there is a growth, a consistent growth that is happening in the characters. And wow, kudos to you. How did you stick with this idea, with this story, with these characters for 9 years? Were there not points in your writing journey where you felt, no, I am going to give up, and no, this is it? How did you stick with this?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of times I didn't think that this will come out. Like, I started, I wrote the first draft in 2014 during National Novel Writing Month. Writing anything in English. Actually, I have only written in Malayalam, my mother tongue, till that point. So then
Right,
I was just, as a challenge, I took it up in 2014, and then I wrote the 50,000 words to my utter surprise. It was just like take one day at a time, and it was a challenge. So I just divided the days by the time. I mean the number of words by the days, and I just completed a 50,000 word draft in 2014, and then I had no idea what to do with it because it was so sitting there like a giant something which I don't know what to do with. Then I kept it in the shelf for 2-3 years because then I moved on to other writings like travel and short stories, and even my novella and my short story collection, everything came after that. Actually, this is the first work I have ever written in English. But
right,
it didn't, because it is a novel and it was challenging. It was not easy to put it into a novel format. The 50,000 words were there, but it was all messed up. So
right,
then, I kept it in the shelf for so many years, like 2-3 years. I kept it in the shelf. Then I think I picked it up back when I got a little bit of confidence by writing other things like a novella, short stories, and all. I got a confidence that okay, probably this could also work. So I think I took it again back in 2016-17 each time. So I had a baby at that time, so I got a little bit of maternity leave. So during that time, I wrote the next drafts actually. So probably the second,
right,
third drafts I did it during my maternity leave. Around 6 months, I was happily writing the novel during my maternity leave. And then, yeah,
right,
then I realized, okay, probably this could work. So in 2018, then my novel was like kind of shape, and my writing was coming up well. So I quit my job. I just took a leap of faith, and just I wanted more time for this. I didn't want to kind of juggle everything and like end up
uh,
doing nothing. So that's how I then in
right,
2019, then the pandemic happened. So again it went off into a what do you say? Again, it went off into a shell mode for some time. So
right.
it has been through a lot of evolutions and what you say drafts, and it changed shape every time. So even the
Right,
whatever you see right now is a very different thing from what I wrote into. Even I won't recognize what I wrote in 2014, and 9 years later, it's a entirely different thing.
right, right. So we have a question for you here from Lalita. She says, do you find that when you work on a story for a longer period of time, a lot of things change during that period? People, places, trends change, absolutely. How do you manage that in the editing process?
Yeah, yes, yes. It was like when you work on a piece for a song, I don't recommend it for anybody actually. It's very difficult. So I had actually kept it, it is happening in the past. So I had kept it in the time frame of, it starts 2004 and it goes around till 2014. So the
Right,
time I, the time I actually wrote. So I had kept it like that. I didn't bring it to the modern 2000. So it goes only till 2016, 15, 16 max. So I
Right.
didn't go beyond that. So I've given the timeline as such, so that you can see the trends and all. It is a little old. Like there
Huh.
is not too much of social media, or not too much of phone, or there is a little bit, but not that much. Like whatever we limited things we used to do in 2014. So the trends and everything. So I could kind of work it out with the initial draft, because I know a lot of things have changed, and especially drastic change from 2015 onwards. So I didn't go there
Right.
for the safer side. But yeah, a lot of things change actually, and it's very difficult. And so I don't know. Maybe there could be like some inaccuracies, because some things change, and it's very difficult to capture it all that trend changes. So I kept it like 2004 to 14 period for the safe side. So only thing
Right.
is I had to make sure nothing too new enter into it. For example, I
Right.
cannot talk about TikTok in the in my novel, because it's happening
Right.
somewhere for the time. I couldn't bring in the pandemic, so I didn't do
Of
any of
course.
that. So I stayed on the safer side.
Right, right, right. Yes, that's true. That's true. And I think it was a wise decision because the story originated in that time. It carries the soul of those years, and I feel it was a
Mm.
good decision not to inject too much of 2015, post 2015, whatever contemporary changes have happened. So wise decision over there. All right. Okay. We have a compliment for you from a reader. Abhishek Mittal says, "What a journey." And I am halfway into Lost Edges. That was great, Abhishek, and finding the first person narration very gripping and intimate. Absolutely. I loved those parts where, they were talking about themselves. Absolutely. All right. This brings me, Shalini,
Thank you,
to the
Abhishek.
characters. This brings me to the characters, the soul of your book. It is a very character driven narrative, and Geetu and Ravi are as real as they can be. So, tell us how you envisioned these characters. How did you come to these characters? Like, these are my characters, Geetu and Ravi are my characters. Tell us about them.
Like so the entire novel idea, the character idea basically started from a very small short story I wrote in Malayalam. Back in I think 2011, probably 2011 or 10, I wrote a story about a couple. Um, their names are, I not changed the names. The original story, they're Ravi and Gitanjali. And here also, I couldn't even think of changing their names actually, because it has become so real for me. So that story is like a man who is not so, like he's not a typical masculine strong man who earns a living for the family. No. And the woman also was like, she is a person who's like she not a typical as such, she's a very ambitious woman. And so there was a very slight glimmer of these two characters in that short story. And one of the readers told that this could be a novel actually. These characters are so real. And I was like, I never thought, okay, I just read it and I was like, maybe I was just past it. But these two characters kind of like stayed with me from that time. So I know them from like so long actually. Then I want to write a man, a male character who is not so like typically portrayed in popular culture. I wanted Ravi to be a very, at the risk of making him unreal and unrealistic. See, some people may think that no, man cannot be like this. I wanted him to be like emotional, vulnerable, crying, and like you have read the novel, so you know that Ravi cries and he blushes
Huh.
and he is very vulnerable, and he have this like toxic masculinity of, okay, I have to do this, I am a man up, I have to man up or something. He never thinks like that way. He thinks he's a very vulnerable and fragile person. So I wanted to show that, see, men can also be vulnerable and fragile. They're actually pressurized to act strong and don't show their emotions and all. So I wanted Ravi. I kind of intentionally did that to him. I didn't want. There were places where, like crying and all. I wanted him to cry. I wanted him to feel vulnerable. I wanted him to feel dependent on Gitanjali for many things. So I wanted Ravi to be a
Right.
character who tells the readers that you see men can also be like this. It's not necessary that men has to be strong always. And Gitanjali's character, I kind of made her into what I want someone, what my dream girl, I can say, a woman should
Right,
be. You know,
right.
she's
Yes.
ambitious, like very strong and all, but she's at the same time she's gentle and kind. And so when you start reading, maybe many people have told me first few chapters we didn't like both the characters. We were like, these both are like too much. But I wanted Gitanjali to be someone I can look up to, and everyone can look up to, because she's ambitious, she's strong, but she's not like, okay, I don't care about anybody in the world. She has a lot
Right.
of soft, delicate, and kindness is one of the things I really wanted to portray through the characters, every character. So whoever possible, made them kind, because we need a lot of kindness, especially when you handle mental health issues. When you care for a person who is having mental health issue, you need a lot of kindness. So I wanted Gitanjali to be I could say that she is an ideal person, while Ravi is not so ideal, and she also has her
Right.
own issues actually. But
Right.
yeah, I wanted her to be like, a person who can everyone look up to, like, especially a strong woman who doesn't, and also she doesn't compromise on anything. Only because of her
Right.
love for Ravi, she kind of stays with him. But she never compromises a lot of things. She is also trying to change things. That is another thing about her. She doesn't accept status quo. She doesn't say, okay, this is my life, I'm going to live like that. She never accepts
Yes.
it. So
Yes.
these two
Yes.
characters, yeah, I think maybe an atypical man and probably an idealistic woman.
I totally agree with whatever you have said. Everything that you have said, it comes out in the characters in the book. Ravi is, this is one of the first things that I discussed with a friend of mine while I was reading your book. That Ravi is not a conventional man, and Gitanjali is not a very conventional woman. I think mostly I felt that their roles were reversed, like norms, just socially normative roles. Hain. I thought that their roles were reversed, and it was so interesting to see that aspect because yes, men can be soft, females can be strong, anybody can be anything, and I felt that those portrayals were kind of challenging my biases, and they were calling out to my biases and saying ki you feel this way, you may not know that you expect a man to do this and a woman to do this, you may not have that conscious knowledge, but you have it subconsciously within you, and it just kind of called to me to kind of confront my own biases. And that is what is so amazing about these two characters, that it calls out your personal biases. Ki, okay, what if Ravi is crying? What's wrong in that? What's wrong in that if he is crying? That is absolutely true. Okay, we have some more compliments for you. Lalita loves the cover design. I'm sure all of us love the cover design. It is so elegant, so artistic. It is simplistic, minimal है लेकिन बहुत ही अच्छा है. Seriously. We have Vinu. I'm not sure how to pronounce your surname, ma'am. I want to be like her, like Gitanjali, especially not accepting the status quo. Yes, we all want to be like Gitu. We all of us want to be like Gitu. Kajal says it is the responsibility of an author of metal to challenge the status quo and address biases. Great work, Shalini. Absolutely, absolutely. Great work. Seriously. And now that we are talking about characters, I'm going to raise one, honest reader feedback. Like you said, at the risk of making Ravi unlikable for some readers and unrealistic for some readers, at the risk of that, I did feel at some point in the book that, I had started disliking Ravi a little. I don't know, maybe it was
Yeah.
just, this Geetu's personality coming inside me and saying, enough is enough. I wanted to shake him, get out of it, snap out of it. And I started disliking him. And now that you have said that, you have done it intentionally, I just get this idea that, it is done intentionally to kind of evoke all of those emotions. Tell us a little bit about this. Have you received this kind of feedback from other readers that, Ravi is kind of not very
Uh,
likable?
yes, yes. It is the main feedback I got about the book and the character. So it's one of the main feedback I got from every beta reader, even my editor. So, like, Ravi is kind of a person you seriously what the same words you use, like, want to shake him up and, ask him to do something. So, like, still
Right,
he's not
right,
doing anything about it. And so, yeah, it was actually initially it didn't start as intentional. I was just trying to portray the real feelings, real mental state of somebody who's going through depression. So it's not like some people when they look up from outside, they feel that why this person is like this, why can't see when especially when a person has all the kind of agency like a job and good education and a good partner and everything. So a person has a lot of agency to do everything. Still, why they are not doing something about it? So it kind of irritates, and people really get irritated by this kind of when then they encounter this situation when somebody has agency, still they are not doing. So I feel this is one of the most under appreciate. I mean, like people don't understand that mental health issues, especially like depression or people who have issues from their childhood. They could be actually like this. They could be they even they themselves don't know why they are acting like this. Maybe they want to,
right,
like just like Ravi, he wants to be, he wants to succeed, he wants to make Gitanjali happy, he wants everything, but still cannot do it, he cannot stand up and do it. So I think this is something which kind of pisses people off when it comes to people, dealing with people who have mental health issues, like
right,
so when you
right,
have that depression and when you have that kind of an issue, it's so difficult to do, even get up from the bed. Forget about going
right,
to a job or succeeding and making relationship work. It's not even possible to get up from your bed. So I just
right,
wanted to show that it's real. And there are people who act like this, and because of they have unresolved issues, they need help. So I wanted to show that, like, you need, whenever you have encounter a person like this, instead of getting, people, instead of feeling that why is he like this, we try to encourage people. We try to talk some sense in them, but they seems like they are not listening to anything, and some of the people get labeled as narcissists, some of them get labeled as lazy people. I'm not saying it's
right,
not the case. In some cases it could be, but when it comes to mental health issues, it always mostly kind of confused as a narcissism, or confused as a laziness, confused as a lack of
right,
ambition. But actually these people, they're not like they don't have ambition, they're not like they love themselves so much so that they make everyone else life difficult. They are in a mental state that they cannot do anything. So what we
right,
need to bring, change into their help. You need professional help. So a person like Ravi, he needs professional help. So which he didn't get until a very late point in the novel. He didn't get and organizes it. It's Gitanjali and everyone else, even the reader along with Gitanjali, conceive him as a very, say, lazy, person who doesn't want to do anything, who doesn't want to like. So same this comment I've got from a lot of people. And so it's like, even my editor told there is a risk that Ravi become very unlikable, and
yeah,
we change certain parts. Like, this is like the toned down version of Ravi actually.
Oh my
The,
God, this
the
is
editor
so
had a
long.
very serious comments about. So so I thought like, yeah, maybe this could happen a bit, and I think probably I hope that the readers could probably sympathize with him once they know that, once they know they get into his like what is really happening with him. So I wanted to show that, and lot of people have told me, and even my next door neighbor, she read 3 chapters of my book and she came to me in the corridor and she told me, I absolutely hate this fellow. Okay. So I told like, I was like a little
And
up, was a little,
I am
kind of
actually,
upset.
I am actually, feeling a little,
I
kind of.
told,
No, I admire you for
no,
your,
no, you are not
for
alone. I
your,
mean, I feel, yeah, I feel it's intended to some extent intended, and I expected also people could. But I also thought that, see, in a fiction work, Ravi is not a hero. That I wanted to, kind of emphasize. He's not a hero. He's
right,
not protagonist. He's not like a hero, or he's not a ideal person who changes and everything. I wanted to make him as real, as close as a person who is going through a mental health issue. And and Geeta, I know, like, I felt sometimes, I feel really sad for Geetanjali, and I even feel that, people may think that she is being victimized for whatever reasons he is going through. She is also being pulled into the situation, and her life is also ruined. So I think, and also in that point, that's why the romance came in, because
right.
love, when you love someone, you don't see any logic. If it was an another
Ah,
person, Gitanjali would have left long ago, and she would have gone ahead with her life. She would have stayed.
right,
So I wanted to show that as well. When you love someone, love doesn't have any logic. So even the most ambitious people, when they love someone, you lose all your logic. You lose all your, you want that
right,
person, want the love to continue, you want the love to sustain. That's how the romance came. Because if I give any other relationship over there, it may not work. It's only through love
right,
somebody
right,
person
right,
like Ravi for so long. And I tried my best not to turn it into toxicity. That is another. It was a very
right,
thin line actually, like, a toxic relationship and a relationship that somebody tries to help each other. So you could easily go to toxic, and I think some of the readers even may feel that it's like a toxic relationship she's staying in and she has to get out. So I tried
right,
to reduce the toxicity a lot with the
right,
help of
right,
the
right.
editor. Support Gitanjali at certain points. Like, in the beginning, especially, he also supports her before he kind of falls deeper into his problems. So I try to balance it out a bit, but yeah, there are a lot of, thin lines in this novel, I feel. Even I know. If somebody comes and tells me that, see, this is about a toxic relationship, maybe, yeah, when you think about from their perspective, they could feel like that. So there are a lot of thin lines I kind of try to thread through the novel. I think that would have added to the reality probably, because when
Right,
you
right.
write,
So,
they may not seem
Shalini,
real, probably.
right, right. So, Shalini, I just want to, assure you of this fact that the way that you try to portray a depressed person, how they would behave, how they would, act out, and how they would ruin their relationships, that is exactly spot on. Coming from me, because I have, been the person who was depressed, I had anxiety, I had childhood trauma, and I'm still struggling today for whatever happened in the past. And so for that, at least, you have done a fabulous job, because I felt whatever Ravi felt, and I understood that, yes, this happens. I kept on nodding my head, yes, this happens. Nightmares, panic attacks, sweats, not understanding where this is coming from, not understanding why you can't express whatever you are feeling. Everything, it is very, very spot on. And on top of that, I think you've done a fabulous job of portraying how difficult it is to be a caregiver of a depressed person. which is something that you also talk about, in the therapy sessions. It is very difficult to be the caregiver of a depressed person, because yes, like you said, it might seem like it is toxic, but it is not. It is so emotionally draining. It is so exhausting that the caregiver also needs help. The caregiver also needs help, and I'm so happy that you included that line in your book, that caregivers do need help. It is very emotionally draining, and Gitanjali should go and take therapy for that. Absolutely well done, Shalini, because this is something that I understood myself better. I'm telling you, after reading your book, after reading about Ravi and Gitanjali, I understood my depression, and I understood my caregivers' frustration with me. The way they would shout at me, the way they would get irritated and frustrated with me, I understood all of that after reading your book. So, thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so great to hear that, because when I was writing, I wasn't bothered about I wasn't even thinking about how this up how this is. I was not writing it for an audience, or I was not writing it for a publisher, or I was not writing it to be in a certain genre or anything. So I was not even writing it to be um, the characters to be likable, or characters to be. So I wrote how I kind of felt around mental health issues. So even while I was working, I had issues with job dissatisfaction. I had a bit of spell of depression, and I still do have it. But so I wanted to just very honest, and this is what happens. So that's why I didn't probably this came out as like a very honest thing, probably, rather
Right.
than it was not a formulaic novel by any way. It just happened, and I don't know whether I'll write a novel like this again, because what you call a writer. So maybe I'll go for a formula now. See, I'll see, oh, who is the target audience, and what works, how is the hero works, the arc and everything, because I got into the technicalities now. But this thing was like
Right.
very naive, without knowing any technicality, knowing anything, without even knowing that okay, a reader finally will read it and they will have an opinion about it. I was even thinking about that. Okay, somebody is going to read it and they will have a review, they will have an opinion. Because I think that naivety kind of helped. Without, no, I would have been scared otherwise. I would have been like, oh, what people will think about Ravi, what people will think about this relationship, what people will think about the talk, the very, very emotional scenes. I was not bothered at all. I think I was like, I didn't know. That was the a kind of a boon for me for not knowing. Like now I
Right.
don't know whether I'll be able to write like kind of dishonesty. Now you know that.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, so a
So
writing,
I think that's
experience
what to
changes
really.
you as a writer. So I'm sure that your writing is also going to grow, and I am positive that you will be able to write, something like this again, because every piece of writing helps us grow into a writer, and we understand ourselves better. And this novel has helped me understand myself better, and I'm sure that it will help other people also understand themselves. So we have a lot of comments here for you. I'm just going to highlight some of them. Shalini Malik says that, agree, Gitanjali's portrayal is so real and nuanced. Both the characters' struggles are shown beautifully. The book is very sensitively written, and Shalini says that, she has executed them with a lot of sensitivity, which I agree. Definitely, you have done a very, very good job with it. Khushbu says that it is evident that you have put your heart and soul in the book, Shalini, and it is definitely evident. All right. Shashikala ma'am says, reminds me of the film Khamoshi, Wahida Rahman and Rajesh Khanna, Dharminder. She goes into depression towards the end. Now it makes more sense to me after listening to this conversation. Thank you, Shashikala ma'am. This is beautiful. All right, we have a comment from Ranjini. Mental illness is a sensitive issue. How was people's reaction when the hero of your novel was fighting with depression and trauma? I think Shalini, you have already answered this question. Ranjini, Shalini has already taken Ravi's character arc and discussed it with us. So thank you for asking this question. Yes, I agree. Mental health is a very very sensitive topic. All right, we have a very long comment from Aarti. The caregivers also has their own experiences and values, and these are what lead to frustrations, which is very clearly depicted through Gitanjali's characterization. Each of us have our own childhood experiences that shape our adult thoughts, values, and biases. It is important for us to be aware of it, become mindful of it, especially when we are donning the caregiver role. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you, Aarti ma'am. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Things have gotten very emotionally heavy. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about publishing. Shalini, you have been very vocal about the fact that you have chosen the self publishing way for your novel Lost Stitches. Tell us a little bit about your journey through self publishing. How easy or how difficult was it?
Yeah, yeah, it was like not that I tried traditional publishing for this novel. I definitely kind of, even though I have self-published my earlier books, I was traditional publisher for this book. But circumstances were not very favorable because 2021-22 during the pandemic, a lot of backlog had happened in the publishing industry, and a lot of it was not favorable for a publishing industry. So the many publishers were like turning down a lot of manuscripts. They were not taking in new manuscripts, things like that. So almost a year and a half, I think I tried with to go with the literary agents, and I kept on submitting, and I got a lot of rejections, which was very difficult to handle along with writing a novel. Novel itself is like so emotionally draining, and on top of
Right.
that, getting rejections were like difficult for me. Then anyway, like after some time, after trying for 1.5 years, I felt that like it's time to move on actually from traditional trying. There is no point in keep trying for something which may not come at all. So I thought anyway, I have some self-publishing experience. I have published two of my books myself, but for that I had a very kind of very clear vision for this book. I wanted every aspect of this book to be according to what I want. So for that,
Right.
the editing, I wanted a very sensitive editor. So that's why I chose Pankaj Giri. I have read his Fragile Thread of Hope, and it was a very sensitive portrayal of a male character, especially. So, and
Right.
also he's a very, very good at portraying emotional uh, stories, and his portrayal of that male character was so spot on. I thought Pankaj may be the best person to play Ravi. So I was not wrong, thankfully. That was the best, I think, one of the best decisions I took about this novel. To ask Pankaj, Pankaj to edit my novel, and he has done a wonderful job. And I got a male perspective of Ravi's character also. So that was one thing. I wanted a very sensitive editor who understand my characters, and who don't who is kind to my characters. So Pankaj did a fantastic job of editing the book, and his input was so crucial at many points. Even changed the plot a bit, changed the climax a bit, and everything. He has put in a lot of effort. He was emotionally and invested in the novel for so many months. So that was one thing. And the cover design, I wanted a particular style of cover, and I
Right.
wanted it to be like rustic, and I wanted to be kind of a embroidery design, like a kanta design.
Right.
So I got and again I worked with an artist. I wanted the interior typesetting, everything to be matching with my vision for this book. I didn't want to kind of what you said. I didn't want to compromise on any aspect. so stressful because I was so much nitpicking about each and everything. So I should have actually gone with any self-publishing company probably, but I didn't. I got a lot of mixed comments, and I didn't want to take a risk. So I did everything. From the typesetting, I got a freelancer, and I for the printing, I got a freelance, a particular printer, and I got the ISBN. Then I
Oh,
registered myself as a seller on Amazon because I wanted everything about this book to be no, I won't call it perfect, but I will call it according to my norms, my rules. Probably I didn't want to compromise on anything. Thankfully, but
right.
it was a long, horrible, arduous journey. I would say. Sometimes I felt like, oh my God, why I did all this? I mean, I should have just gone with. I should have given it to somebody, and through probably through Notion Plus or something. I should have bought it printed. Why this cover? I was so frustrated. Why I nitpicked about the cover? I mean, I was questioning myself a lot during
Right,
those months.
right.
Like why I made myself suffer like this. Everything came together. People helped a lot. I cannot begin to tell you how much people helped. Even my cover designer. So I have this book here. So his cover you can see, every aspect. Even see, this is small things. I kind of told him, see, I want this to be like this. So
Oh,
everyone helped a lot. Even the printer, even the person who typesetted it. Actually, I made him do it over and over again for 2 months. So he told me, I have never done a work like this. I have never dealt with anybody like you. So he was so frustrated. But I told him, see, I was like, even smallest of things, I was like kind of nitpicking and everything. But thankfully everything came together because I think everything that all is well that ends well. So I now I have forgotten all my struggles. I have
huh.
kind of made peace with all that happened. Like all that days and nights I struggled. It's like when I see the reviews, when I see the comments, I'm really kind of happy that all that. And also when I get the comments about the book or the cover or the typesetting, everything, I'm really happy that I took a chance. Maybe I
Right.
could have. I mean, I many times I felt like I should choose the easy way. I should have chosen the easy way. I felt many times. Honestly, I felt like I shouldn't have gone through such a complicated way of and selling on Amazon. That was another big headache. I never knew how to do all that. But I think
Right.
it's for good. I learned a lot of things. For maybe in the next book, if I get a traditional publisher, well and good. I'm happy again. But if I don't, there is a way. I know that there is a way to go ahead. So authors, writers doesn't have to be so scared of not getting a publisher or not getting duped by some self-publishing agency, self-publisher. You don't have to be so afraid. You have the power to take things into your own hands and do it. You don't need anybody basically. You can get people, good people who can do this for you. So I think many writers, I wanted to kind of tell everybody that you don't have to be feel so insecure and afraid. You have written the work, so you are the most powerful person in the equation. It's your work, so you have all the freedom to demand the best for it. You don't have to kind of what you say, you don't have to compromise on substandard things for your book. That's what I felt. Even though I felt I should have, but you don't have to compromise. There is a lot of way to do things, get things done. And many of the in the writing fraternity, many people helped me actually. So I had a lot of doubts, and there is for she is a children's writer, and she has done the same way. She has published her own books, and she is selling her own books. So Anita helped me a lot. She walked me through the entire process, and she was always there to answer my questions. So it's like the writing fraternity helped me, and Pankaj and everyone, like even the Amazon selling, Amazon customer care. Everyone was very helpful, and even though I am a novice, I have absolutely zero experience or knowledge in all these things.
Right.
And also, I'm not like a very conscious person. I'm a very sensitive, and I'm a very anxious person who gets so scared of all these. I can do this. I can cross all these and come publish a book and sell it. I think anybody can, because I get
Right.
even upset for the least smallest thing possible. So my journey, I
Shalini,
feel like a lot of
Shalini,
learnings happened.
I will stop you here. Please take a breath. I can see that you are emotionally overwhelmed with you are remembering all of your struggles and you are overwhelmed right now. Just take a breather, and I will just tell you that I agree with you that it was a learning curve. Of course, you were new at this, and obviously whenever we try something new, you have all of these struggles that you've never experienced before. And I'm very happy because you had this dream in your head, you had this picture in your head that you wanted it to be like that. And I'm so happy that through your community, through all of the people around you, you got that strength to carry on and to bring that dream into reality all on your own. That is something to be very, very proud of. And I'm very, very positive that this learning, this wealth of information is going to help you in the future as well. So like you said, all is well that ends well, and it has ended beautifully well for you and for Lost Edges. So I know it must have been a very, very emotionally charged state earlier when you were doing all of these things. But then I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. But yes, you've overcome all of those problems and now you're here. So well done for that. Well done, really.
Thank you.
We have a lot of comments from our viewers. Shalini has emerged stronger for all these challenges. You are an inspiration. I totally agree. You did it, and hats off to you, because मैं रहती थी तो I would have given up. I am a give up kind of a person, probably. But listening to your journey now, I feel like yes, it is doable. It is something that you can face. If you can do it, others can also do, and you will serve as an inspiration to a lot of us. We keep waiting for traditional publishers, but we don't have to. In this age, we don't have to. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiring journey. And Natasha says, Shalini is a force to be reckoned with. I'm aware of her journey just a bit, and she is the one. Yes, she is the one. All right, Shalini, I know it was a huge, huge challenge bringing this book into reality. But now that you are on the other side of the tunnel, tell me, what is the most rewarding aspect of having written this book? What is that, one or two things that you feel, yes, I have done it, and this is what I expected this book to be? What is your reward out of this?
The most importantly, the comments from readers, like when people
Right.
say that they're related to this, and they could relate to it, and they enjoyed it. And so the comments from readers are I think the most satisfying part of. And I seen the book in some bookstores, like I went to Bangalore, Blossoms and all. I was not expecting them to keep the book.
Right.
So that was a real moment for me. To see the book in the bookstore was like a very surreal experience actually. I was I was like, I think, but moreover, above everything, I think it's the readers and the messages I get. Like when you message me, like some people. I mean, It's not like a lot of people are reading and I'm get flooded with message or something, but I get some messages once couple of days or 3 days. I get a message from somebody saying that it's like some says like this is my life. So somebody asked me like have you been stalking me because 90% of this book is my life. When you hear such things, when you hear such things, it's more than the success or more than anything. Connecting with the readers, I think, has been the most rewarding part of it, and that I think even that makes my day rather. The selling and marketing, everything. See, I do a lot of marketing, like I do
Right.
everything possible, but the real happiness comes when you get this when you people kind of relate to it. And also, like you said, I understood something about myself, or I understood something about somebody else. So I feel like yeah,
Right.
all the effort put into this has been kind of worth it. So that I think I believe that even the book touches a one person genuinely, that is more than enough for a writer. Best selling and everything comes later. So if it touch anybody and if it
Absolutely.
becomes go
Yes.
on becoming a bestseller, I don't think that is not. So it's been like all that experiences, all the messages have been really, I am really enjoying them. Even though people are like telling not so kind of happy, they're not jumping with happiness. I know, I have made some people even cry. So somebody told me I cried. So I was like, I'm sorry for that. But
Yes, yes, yes. It is obviously it is not an easy book to read, and I'm sure we have heard you. It was not an easy
yeah,
book to write, but it is something that we need to read, and it is something that we need to talk about, and that's why it plays a very very important role in the literary world. And for everyone out there who is struggling with mental health issues, I think it is very very important. That's why from somebody who is suffering with these issues, I thank you from the bottom of my heart to that you have written this book. No matter how unlikable Ravi might seem to some people, that's the reality, the unfortunate reality of it. And I hope that a lot of people will connect to what it is really like. So you have done such a fabulous job, such a fabulous job.
thank you. So I wanted to give I didn't want things to end like very on a very sour note or anything. So I wanted to give some hope, and once you bring in the reader to a dark tunnel, you have the responsibility to show them some light. So that's why
Right,
the ending, I believe I have shown them some light. I have given them some ideas. Now
right,
you have come to the end of the tunnel. Now there is light, and you know how to go about it, how to make your life
right.
better. That is another thing I want to how to change things which are not right for you, and how to make you can always. I believe that in you can make your life better. So only thing is, probably you need help and kindness from others, and probably you need a little bit, opening up from your side. So I thought I do believe that yeah, I have shown some the end. So that people will it will end it on a hopeful note rather than going into a doomsday.
Right, right. So yeah, it is an open ending, and it is not like I would say not a conventional ending, but the novel is not a conventional novel, so it is apt for the kind of story that we have read in Lost Edges, because it's very difficult to go from whatever has happened in the beginning and ending may happily ever after is really not feasible. It's not realistic, and I'm sure that many people will not be happy with that kind of an ending, but it is a way out. It is the way forward. From there, how they take their lives ahead is on them, but that is what I liked about the ending. I love open endings, and for me it was very very apt. Thank you for not making it happily ever after.
It can't be, right? I mean, as you said, there is no, it's not feasible from there where you begin within that time frame to go from that state to happily ever after is kind of, it is
Right.
unreliable. What you say, it is unrealistic. So the
Right.
ending, even yeah, my mother, when she said you could have gone through 2 more chapters and told us what happened. But I think yeah, enough pointers have been given to readers. Like okay, they can kind of decide or imagine for themselves what is going to happen.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. You've given us enough of a light to know that, there is hope at the end of the tunnel, and that is what is important. We have a comment from Aarti. I have always loved endings that are left hanging or left to the imagination of the reader. It gives the flexibility for them to work out how it could go based on their life experiences. Absolutely. Even I love these kind of endings, Aarti, and I'm really happy that it was not happily ever after. I see on Amazon that some people are not happy with it, but I am a very happy reader. All right. I think there was a question from Ranjini that we missed. I think you have already touched upon this. How to keep the thoughts flowing and keep the essence of the characters connected for a gap of 9 years. Won't one lose the core of the plot? Would you like to say something about this, Shalini?
So see, it's like actually the novel happens over a decade. Like from 2004 to 2014-15. So I think because of that, so there is a evolution in the characters as well. So I think that helped. Since I wrote the novel in 9 years, and the novel itself kind of evolves in 9 years, 9-10 years. I think it didn't kind of the beginning, whatever Ravi and Gitanjali as a teenagers, college time. So they are not
Right.
like this. So I think probably it evolved with me also, like my thought process, when I become like a adult, and then the characters also became adults. So and then there
Right.
are a lot of things changed actually, when I think 2014 first draft version, a lot of things were very naive. The characters were very underdeveloped, and not realistic at all. So I think over the years I kept on adding layer by layer, kind of made them realistic. So I think they evolved kind of,
Right, right,
and I
right. I
let them
think
evolve. I
based on
tried
your
to.
experiences, I think based on your experiences, also you keep revisiting,
Yeah,
what you had written earlier and kind
yeah,
of changing it. Okay, this is how I have evolved. So probably this is how the characters should evolve. Yes,
yeah.
yes, right. All right. So we have a lot of great comments for you, Shalini. I'm sure after the session ends, I request you that
Thank
please
you.
go through the comments. People have been very kind and very,
Thank you, everyone.
complimenting you a lot. Before we end this session, we are almost out of time और मुझे बिल्कुल भी नहीं पता चला, where this 1 hour has gone. So we are out of time. And before we end this session, I would ask you, is there something that you would like to share with our viewers? Our viewers are also writers and readers. Would you like to give them some tips? It could be anything about writing, about rejections, about self publishing. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I think see, when you write a piece of work, like be it a short story or be it a novel, you may start with a vision, like you want to go with a traditional publisher, and that is good. Actually, traditional publishers have a lot of leverage. I have understood, especially when it comes to the distribution and other things, and also the reviews and awards and book fairs and all lot of things. They have a lot of leverage. So when you go with
Right.
one of a reputed good traditional publisher, you will have a lot of advantage. I am all for that because they are good. They know the business. But there are a lot of other publishing houses which may not be that good. So whatever you do, if you're going for a publisher, you should be very careful about what their terms and conditions are. When you get before getting to anything, you should read the contract properly, and ask questions. Don't just accept as it is. And if nothing works out, and also anytime you can walk out of a contract. I know people who have written contract with Penguin and then walked out. So it's not like, okay,
Oh,
it's not a very, end of the day or an end of life or anything. You can, when you are not happy with something, it's after all your book, right? So always walk out, and you should read the contract properly. Every single word you should understand. And if that
right,
doesn't
right,
work out, if the traditional publishing doesn't work out, there is always self-publishing, KDP, everything is at your disposal. It's not like, and you can do like, if you explore a lot, there is a lot of power in the writer's hand nowadays. It's not like earlier times, there is no way to get your work out other than through a publisher. So whichever way you take, traditional or self, I think you shouldn't compromise on the quality of your work. You should,
right.
do the best you can for that. Shouldn't if a traditional publisher is asking you to do compromises, change this, change that, maybe that is not the best publisher for you. A publisher, whoever it
Right.
is, if it is yourself or if it is another person, they should understand your vision for your own work, because only as a
Right.
writer you are the only person who understands the vision. Nobody else is so
Right.
much interested or invested in
Huh.
your work. So you should feel like,
Right, right, absolutely. The vision that the writer has for the novel is, what comes at a priority. And if you, like Shalini, have a very clear vision of what you want your work to be, then you have to be very careful about, the kind of contracts that you get in, and the kind of deals that you make with the publishers and book reviewers or whatever. But yes, yes, definitely. And like Shalini's, experience, you can always go and ask help from your community, and they will help. People are always ready to help. The only thing that we have to do is go and ask. So never shy away from asking for help,
yeah.
because I have heard this from so many authors. Initially they were very hesitant to ask people from the community for help, because either they thought they knew everything, or they didn't have the confidence to ask other people. But as soon as they did, so many people stood up to help them, and that is why, tribe is very important. Always show up for one another, always help each other out, and that's how, we grow together. Which is what Penmancy is all about. And like Kajal says, Penmancy is here to help. If you are going the self-publishing way, we are always here to help you. And yes, with that, I would like to wrap up this session. Thank you, everyone, every single one of you, for joining us today. Thank you, Shalini. It has been so amazing talking to you. It is a reader's dream. When you read a book and you get to talk to the author about your experience, it's a dream come true for me as a reader. So thank you so much for sharing your insights with us about your writing and about self-publishing. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. It has been real. No, I didn't know how 1 hour passed so fast. So thank you so much for all your insightful questions. I really enjoyed answering all of them. And thank you everyone for joining. I'll definitely go through the comments after the session. So thank you for all your support. I think I have been getting a lot of love from my community, everyone, my friends and my family. So thank you all of you who are there here, and like probably somebody is going to watch in the future. I'm really thankful for your support. And thank you, Penmancy, for this wonderful session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shalini. I hope your book does well. I am going to end this session now, but I
Thank you.
want viewers, please pick up this book, read this book, get back to Shalini with your feedback. It can be an honest feedback. Please don't be scared of Shalini. She will not lash out at you. And please do not forget to leave a review on Amazon. It helps the authors a lot. Please leave reviews on Amazon. If you have read her book, if you are going to read her book, leave reviews on Amazon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shalini. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.